Well, hello, folks. It's another Tuesday. It's another episode. We're getting close to 50. Feels like a big milestone, 50. But when I started, I thought, oh my God, 50 episodes? That's like never going to get there. And then you get there and you think, oh, all I think about is 100. And after 100, it's crazy to think that some people have done thousands and thousands of these things. But, you take it one conversation at a time. And so, yeah. So today's guest is pretty cool. He's from the UK, Johno Verity. You might know him if you have seen a man in a pink toque, pink hat. We call them toques here in Canada. I don't know what they call them there. A pink woolly and a knitted sweater, often riding his BMX through London and sometimes other countries in Europe, but mostly London, catching the sunrise, seeing London with no people on the streets because he gets up so early. And I was drawn to him and his channel. I think the first thing that really grabbed me was his authenticity. He was just real. I just felt he's being just normal Johno. And I don't know Johno until today. I've just known what I've seen. But he's cool. I definitely, you should follow him on Instagram. And I think he's got a YouTube channel as well. And he just talks about history as he's riding his bike through London and sometimes just watch the sunrise. And it's cool. And Johno was kind enough to jump on a conversation with me. It's a huge time difference, 8 hours difference. So he's in the UK, morning here, evening there. And I'm always honored that someone would give me the time. It's like everyone's got a lot going on. Everyone's very busy. And so the fact that someone would set aside an hour and a half of their time to chat to a stranger, myself, on a fairly new podcast, is something that it warms the cockles of my heart, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what a cockle is. Cockle shells, pretty maids all in a row. Maybe it's a shell, cockle. So yeah, it's a fun combo. Just talk about what got Johno started, what got him into this, how it feeds his soul, and all kinds of other stuff. So hope you love this episode. Let's get into it. Johno, the legend
Johno,
with the pink,
yeah.
the legend with the pink hat, BMXing around London. Yeah, you're in London. I'm in Vancouver, BC. We're 8 hours apart, so I know this is a pain in the butt to figure out, but I really appreciate you coming on. I was watching your Instagram. I don't know how it popped up on my feed, and I was like, this guy's cool. Like, I really felt the authenticity come through the phone. Like, you're not trying, you're just being you. And that jumped out for me. And so, yeah.
A lot of people say that, but I don't understand like how else I could be like that. It is. I mean, it's so nice to hear because it's like, well, yeah, like I'm just me, but I don't know
that's
how
the
else
texture
to
that
be.
people are looking for, right? Because I think that that's what AI can't do. It's like they create the texture and the story, and there's something about you're very transparent. I remember one of them, you're talking about being 50 and and yeah, and I think it's great, and it really stands out. And just keep doing the same. I would say, I think a lot of what's online is people trying to be someone else. People just trying too hard. It's like, yeah, it's not you, man. It's like, just be you.
Right.
I feel
That
challenged by that too.
one about turning 50. That's funny because it's done really well, and I was cycling to work, and I kind of always have my filming kit. I've got it with me right now, but it's just a little camera. It's a little action camera on a stick, and I just always have it with me. And I was cycling to work, and I was like, oh, yeah, I kind of might do a little video about that. It's kind of like a nice thought, and I just literally on the way to work filmed that, and then kind of thought, oh, I'll just try like uploading that and see how it goes, and it's done really well. But I feel like quite often it's those bits of content that you kind of don't put too much plan and thought into, and then They do quite well. But because then there are other ones that where, I kind of do a lot of research and,
Yeah.
want to get it right, get the facts right and stuff. It's funny, isn't it?
Yeah, I used to write. I was a musician for a long time, and I found the songs that just arrived, out of just girlfriend just left you, you're bawling, you feel like you've had your heart ripped out, and then the song that comes, boom, they're the best. The songs that you chisel and carve and work away at, just not quite as good. It's like that magic, just grabbing that little thought that jumped in your head and seems to do better than the ones you've given a lot of thought to. It's funny that.
Did you hear that song by James Taylor, Fire and Rain?
Don't think I
I,
did.
I, I've got the worst singing voice. I've seen fire and I've seen
Oh
rain.
yeah.
Uh,
I've
uh,
seen fire
uh,
and I've seen rain.
yeah, so that's a song about. So basically, he was on tour, and then his friends um they flew his wife out to surprise him for his birthday,
Mm-hmm.
and the plane went down, and she died in the plane crash.
Oh,
And then like one of the lyrics is like, just yesterday morning they let me know you were gone, Suzanne, the plans they made put an end to you. And it's just a song about that, but it was written like really shortly after she died, and it's such a beautiful song. And I kind of get that feeling about that. It's like, oh, this is a guy who's just in the moment, just trying to like explain his pain, and it just
huh.
comes out in this incredibly beautiful song. And yeah, that just kind of rung a bell when you mentioned that.
Yeah. I'd love to listen to that song. I know that song very well, but I've had no
Oh,
idea
well,
about the background of
if
it.
you listen to it now, you'll like, yeah, it really hits that, and it's
Yeah.
brilliant. Yeah.
Isn't that the same type of theme as The Day the Music Died? Bye bye, Miss American Pie. Oh, the Chevy to the.
Oh,
Oh no, The Day the Music Died. It was about when three of those huge rock stars went down in a private plane, and the guy that
oh
chose
shoot.
not to go, the guy, there was four of them on tour. So one of them was who's the guy that we used to wear the big thick black glasses back in the 60s? Ugh.
I mean,
And then the other guy that wrote La
yeah.
Bamba, ba-da-da-da-ba-ba, I think he was in the
Oh,
plane.
okay.
And so I've seen a movie about it. I haven't read a book. I saw the movie about it, but I think one of them said, I'm not flying in the plane, plane sketch me out. And he wrote that song, but
Right.
all of those guys went crashing and they were at the height of their music career.
Wow.
The day the music died. That's what that was.
Yeah.
The
Wow.
day the music died.
And now I mean, that's like a classic wedding song. You're like,
Yeah.
you go, or like
Depressing
a
riffs.
karaoke kind of, yeah. That's funny. I mean, not funny, the origins of the song, but like, what it's turned into.
I think many of it, we don't know where like the art comes from, right? Like you want a painting or what inspired it is a story behind the story. Like people, I mean, I've listened to songs that I thought were love songs and they're nothing about love. When you find out what they're actually about, you're like, oh my goodness, this whole time I thought it was but
Well,
that's
yeah,
the cool
you could
thing
be
about
fooled
art.
in. Yeah,
It
exactly.
can be whatever
Um,
you need it to be.
you could be fooled into thinking that Born in the USA is like a super pro US song, like USA, but
Yeah.
it's actually, it's kind of that's not really the message
What is the message
that
on
it
that song?
said. Um, I think it's kind of like, um, yeah, basically that it's kind of looking at the bad sides.
Mm.
It's kind of like a little bit satirical.
Mm.
No,
I got a Springsteen
I'm
story because I was in Rome 2 years ago at a wedding, and me and my wife got stranded there because the flights went on the airline went on strike, which was great because they paid for our hotels for an extra 10 days, and we were downtown Rome for an extra 10 days.
okay.
Yeah, it's like kids, we're not coming home, and there was a huge Springsteen concert planned in like this gorge, which is like right in Rome. And holy smokes, they took them all week to put the stage up and everything for one rock star. It's pretty crazy. And he was kind of shacked up in this hotel right in the heart of Rome. And there was crowds out. We stayed there for 10 days, and there was crowds every single day, hundreds of people just waiting in the hopes that he might take a cab to a restaurant And I don't know if he ever did. Just day and night, just waiting for this.
I think with
The boss.
I think like that kind of fame would be an absolute nightmare. I think that
Mm,
because through my channel, I've garnered a kind of modicum of fame. Like it's I feel like it's almost the perfect amount. I can go out, if I wear my pink hat, maybe 4 or 5 people will either be like a nod, like, hey, like that, or like, oh, I really like your channel. Like that's about it. And it's just like it's like 3 or 4 times a day you get just a kind of nice little, oh well, that makes me feel good. It's, it's nice.
that's amazing.
But then, to be like, Brad
The
Pitt,
horde.
to be Tom Cruise, oh God, it would just be so, so tiresome. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the draw that I've been so fascinated off and on with this fascination in humans to be famous. Like it's this like propensity that we have that's a weak spot in the human condition. Not all of us, but
I
there
guess
is this.
I kind of look, whenever I think where I look back into our medieval, not even medieval, our paleo history as to like why we like certain things. And there's got to be, I guess we existed, didn't we, in groups of up to 150 people for a
Yeah.
very long time. Like you would never get it outside of that. It would kind of branch off and separate. And they often would have been way smaller than that. But I think there would have always been a leader, someone
Mm.
who there's
Big
we kind
hunter.
of we have hierarchy kind of hardwired into us in
Yeah.
some kind of DNA or something. And so maybe in order for us to have these structures, we must have a desire to be the leader.
Mm.
And
Mm.
maybe that's to
It's
be
like an
listened to
itch.
be, yes. And so maybe that's where this desire for fame
Yeah.
stems from. I don't know. I mean,
We see it in
this
nature,
is
right? Like
my,
yeah, I literally went and fed my animal. Like I've got chickens and goats on the property that I live on here. I was like, we just introduced 4 ducks to our flock of chickens, and the ducks are just starting to figure out the pecking. Like there's a whole new pecking order now because we just introduced these 4 new animals. And so I go out there and watch them, and they're just like, the ducks are just grabbing the chickens by the tail, and they're like, the chickens are like wondering what's going on. But now everything's been discombobulated. The rooster is now wondering whether the big male duck is now the boss. So there's like all of this. Like the system was perfect until I introduced the ducks, and now it's all got thrown. And so you watch them just kind of like they're moving around in herds, and the ducks are sticking together. And then every so often the duck will reach out and grab a chicken's tail and yank on it.
right. Well,
It's
it's fascinating stuff, isn't it? I was
well,
lucky enough to go to
yeah.
I was lucky enough to go to Greenland in May,
I saw that. I want
and
to talk about that.
well, so there are these what do they call? They're not there because they're definitely not huskies. You get they're Greenland. Oh man, how have I forgotten this?
Or
The
like a mush
local dogs, because basically they don't allow any other dogs further north than a certain. There's kind of like 100-mile line where you're not allowed any dogs because they don't want any interbreeding of,
mixing. Wow.
yeah, these dogs. And we got to hang out with some of these things, and they're pretty wild. But I was talking to the dog handler, and he was like, oh yeah, and that's the alpha dog, and that one tells all the other ones. And I'm like, well, so if you introduce a new dog, how is it decided and how long does it take? He's like, I either know instantly or it'll take a slight scuffle, might be like 30 seconds, and then they understand, and then that's where they are. And it's just
Crazy.
so quick. Yeah,
Do you
it's
reckon it's
mad,
on
isn't it?
with dogs? Do you think it's size or is it energy?
I
Like
mean,
there must.
the alpha dog in this pack was yeah, definitely the biggest. But maybe
Yeah.
that kind of, there's got to be a point where that big one loses its strength, and there's
Size
another
does
one that's
matter.
like, nah, I want to be up there. Yeah, I mean, basically, yeah,
In the animal kingdom. Yeah,
yeah.
because in the human world, it's more what's going on in your. Well, there is size. I think back in the paleo days, it would have been like that guy can hunt and that guy can run faster and climb a tree quicker and kill an animal and yeah, nowadays things seems like the rules have changed a bit. It's more mental,
Mm.
your mental strength. What was Greenland like? So you have this channel that you like. I want to kind of like figure out how this all began. Was it the chicken and the egg? Was it first you're biking through London as just a part of your life, and then you thought of filming it, or you thought of filming it and thought, oh, biking through London would be a cool
It
idea.
it kind of it happened quite organically. So initially, I'm nearly 50. I've got a production company. Production, it's it's taken a hit in the last
Yeah.
couple of years. A lot of people are really struggling, and certainly that was our company. And I just thought, man, I do not want to be this 50-year-old guy who just talks about how it used to be better. I want
Mm.
to get on top and understand social media. And I have my own channel, and I had probably like 3,000 followers. They were kind of friends and friends of friends, that kind of thing. But I was like, okay, I'm just gonna geek out and understand the algorithm, like understand what works. And then I had that job. I was out in for Greenland for 3 weeks. I was filming a super yacht heli ski operation, which sounds super glamorous, but it's it's
Freezing
kind
your ass
of
off with cameras.
oh, no, I mean, the work and everything was really, amazing. It was
Yeah.
brilliant, and, no, I had an amazing time, and you're basically staying on this super yacht, which is like a floating five-star hotel, it's also just a bit, there's 12 clients, so it's just a bit like, wow, this is a kind of vulgarity to it, I
Yeah.
suppose,
Mm.
this thing
Super
used
rich.
10 metric tons of fuel a day to run this boat. So I had that time, and I was making a film for that super yacht, and then I then went and I spent 10 days on this island, and this was a different trip, and I was hanging out with a really wicked group. Actually, they were super cool. There's a Dutch guy that I know, and that was on an island, and that was kind of like hanging out and spending time with more like surrounded more, you meet local people and stuff, which is really cool. But
Mm.
I just thought, right, I'm on this trip. I'm actually going to have quite a bit of spare time whilst I'm out there. I'm just going to go, right, video every day, whatever it is. I'll just go and like, make a video about it. And that did quite well. I kind of raised my following up to about 7,000, I guess.
Hmm.
And then I came back and I was like, okay, I've got to kind of keep this going, keep the momentum. And then one time I was going out to visit my daughter who lives in France, and I was catching a super early flight, and I had to get across London in the morning. And I was like, how am I going to? I only had a little backpack. I was like, how am I going to get there? The tube's not open, and so I just thought, I'll take one of these public electric bikes.
Mm.
Jumped on one of them, and whilst I was on that, it was like 5 in the morning. It was already daylight because it was springtime. It's like, oh, this is actually really great. I was just really enjoying the ride. I was like, this is great. I'm really enjoying
Mm.
the part to St. Paul's Cathedral. I know a little bit about St. Paul's Cathedral. I knew that it was a controversial building when it was first built. So I
Mm.
mentioned that. And then that one did really well. I suddenly got kind of 4 times more views on that one than I did before. And so I thought, that seems like I could do that. Like
Mm.
wake up naturally really early in the morning. So
Yeah.
just,
I was gonna say.
you know, yeah, like,
You
and
about your
so that
bedtime
side of
now, isn't
things,
it?
well,
Yeah.
weirdly, I don't really go to bed crazily early. I just wake up ridiculously early. So it's gonna,
Wow.
yeah, that just, that happens quite naturally. And then I just got really into going and cycling around London really early in the morning when no one else is up. You go in 4 o'clock in the morning in London in a weekday when it's not the weekend. So Oxford Street, I don't know if you've been to Oxford Street, but it is Ramatron. If you go there on a Saturday afternoon, it is just, you're kind
Piccadilly
of like,
Circus type of.
I've done a minute and a half down Oxford Street, and I've not seen a single person at
Yeah.
4 o'clock in the morning on a Tuesday morning. There's no one around. So that's really special. And
Yeah.
I just got really into it. I was like, oh man, I'm really loving this.
Yeah.
And the viewers, they seem to enjoy it as well. So
Yeah, it's
that's kind
cool
of the
seeing.
story.
I grew up in Cornwall actually until I was 20. So
Oh,
I'm a
okay. Whereabouts in Cornwall?
a little town called Launceston. So if you're going
Launceston.
down the A30, what would get you all the way to the deep south, the A30? The motorway.
Yeah, I mean, is it kind
So
of like out on the turning out towards what? Oh,
it would be
no.
like you're a surfer, right? So you've done Bude probably. You know
Yeah,
Bude.
yeah, yeah.
So
Right,
as you're coming past, so you go past Exeter, and then you go past like Lisgard. No, I can't remember. Anyway, it's got a huge Norman castle sitting on the top of a mountain that you can see from the motorway, like a huge Norman castle, and that's at the center of the town.
right.
And
Okay.
then you're probably about a half an hour, 45 minutes from like Bude. Crackington
Right.
Haven. Have you ever
Okay.
been to Crackington Haven?
I'm not sure I've been there, but I've definitely been to Bude.
Oh man. Like
Um,
my I mean there's pictures on my basement. I don't know where they are, but Crackington is where I spent most of my childhood farming. We had a little holiday cabin there, which was literally an old horse box. We weren't very wealthy. And we spent our entire summers at Crackington Haven. Good surf spot. And
so
so dear to my heart,
uh,
that place.
you left when you were 20. What? Why was that?
So I was a country bumpkin, big time, like just sheep farming, scared shitless of women. Never thought I'd get a girlfriend. And I met this girl when I was like 19 or 20 who was an au pair, like a nanny from Arkansas, like the deep south of America. And she was nannying these children in some coastal town. I can't remember the name of it now. Pool.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So I met her and she swept me off my feet. I don't know what was happening. Fell in love head over heels. And she's like, why don't you come to Arkansas for Christmas? And so I'm like, all right. So I was renting a house by then and, had a little business, landscaping business. And I went to Arkansas and I just didn't go home.
right.
And so I stayed in Arkansas for a year, had the time of my life. Most people from Canada, when they say, oh, you've been to Arkansas, their voice drops like, oh. And I'm like, no, it was like Disney World because I had never seen an all-you-can-eat buffet. I had never seen a big American truck. I had never seen country. I didn't realize country music. Like I grew up on the Dukes of Hazzard, and then I go to Arkansas. People are actually wearing cowboy boots and cowboy hats. Normal life. Like I was like, what? It was such an anomaly. And I had a blast there, absolute blast. And then my parents flew from England to Toronto, and I said, well, I'll just drive up and visit you. But not knowing Canadian and American geography, I didn't realize that Canada was another country. I only really focused on European culture or geography. So I get to the border and there's this huge lineup. I'm like, what's going on? And then I'm like, oh shit, I've overstayed my visa in the States by a couple months. So I'm sitting in the lineup and I grab my passport and I'm starting to forge the month from like October to September or something, like trying to like write it and forge it. And they caught it. Yeah, and they called me in. They said, you're not going back to America. You have to stay in Canada. And I borrowed someone's truck to get there. And so, yeah, that's how I ended up in Canada.
But are you able to leave Canada? I mean, are you banned from America forever? Or
no,
you're
every
banned
time
from
I
America?
go, I get hassled. I went to Mexico with my oldest son for his 18th birthday, and I have a permanent resident card.
Yeah.
So I don't have a Canadian passport. I could totally get one. I just can't be bothered to go and do all of the rigmarole. And I got to the counter to come back to Canada, and my permanent resident card had expired that morning. And they said, your son's getting on this flight, but you're not. And I ended up stranded in Mexico for 3 weeks, just living in some shit hotel until I could figure it all out. But honestly, I thought I was going to have to move the whole family to Mexico. So I'm like, they're not letting me back because they wouldn't let me travel through America. They wouldn't let me get on any public transportation. So it's been a huge hassle. Every time I go to the States, I get hassled. Like they consider overstaying your visa almost worse than trafficking drugs. Because my good friend trafficked drugs for years, and he got put in jail. He did 3 years in jail in Texas jail. and he just recently got it expunged, and he can now travel in the States. And you'd think there's no way you'll ever travel again. Like, you traffic drugs into America, like, you're done. But I get hassled all the time. I've even been sent back to Canada before. I was going on holiday, and they just said, "No, you're not going," and they sent me back.
Wow.
So that's how I ended up here. All accidental.
Okay. And now you're in Vancouver. I mean, I was in Vancouver kind of, I guess, yeah, around this time last year. Well, I went through it because I was doing some filming in Whistler.
Yeah, pretty dope spot.
Yeah, no, I've been a few times to Whistler. I'm a big fan. It's amazing.
But compared
And
to the mountains in Europe, it's tiny, right? Like, compared to, like, where you just were, weren't you
it's
just in
not it's
Switzerland
not
or something?
tiny. So yeah, like the Three Valleys, because it was like, oh yeah, like I was trying to work out like how big is actually the resort in Whistler, and then it compared to like the Three Valleys, yeah, I think it's like a quarter of the size of that. But it's you get these like huge kind of networks of ski areas in
Mm.
various parts of the Alps, and they keep on trying to kind of join the big ones together to so they can then claim it's the largest in the world, or
Oh,
could be
yeah.
quite a tenuous
Yeah,
thing. But yeah, no, I mean, but Whistler's incredible. Got some
yeah.
great skiing. Yeah,
It's
good
a cool
snow.
city, Vancouver. I don't live in
Mm,
Vancouver anymore. I have a business there, but just the mountains that surround it, it's pretty
yeah,
bonkers.
yeah, yeah. No,
Yeah.
it seemed pretty cool.
Yeah. You started snowboarding, right? Like, snowboarding, weren't you a almost pro snowboarder?
I was a pro snowboarder for 12 years, from about 99
Mm-hmm.
through to, yeah, 2012.
Hmm.
Um, and this was a very different thing to what it is now. These guys now, if you want to make your mark in snowboarding, you need to be a, a true athlete. You need to be
Yeah.
incredibly talented and on top of your game. Whereas back then, it was almost like the other way. It was this kind of like punk kind of sport that was
Party
grow
hard and
is yeah, so it was, like, all about partying and, like, this sport was, like, the fastest growing sport in the world, and it was also super cool, and, all of the magazines and the media kind of wanted a bit of snowboard in
yeah,
them. We were going through this kind of phase where everything was X. It was like right guard extreme sport. It was, like, it was everything was trying to
yeah.
align themselves with this kind of X, and, um and back then, I just kinda had the right look, and I was
The
half
blonde
decent
hair.
on the snowboard. Yeah, exactly, like,
Yeah, I saw you
alright
hitting
at
a
like
lamppost pretty good.
well, yeah, that was kind of the stuff that I did, and so I managed to, yeah, get some sponsors who just kinda paid for me to live, and, yeah, like, I spent 12 years, like, basically with that as my main source of income.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and it was just really, really good fun. It was like the right place, the right time with the
Mm.
right look, I guess. And
Have you
it was brilliant.
do you know a guy from that era, Devon Walsh?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know him personally. I know exactly who he is. I mean, he was a Canadian snowboarder, part of the Wildcats crew who were like this kind of like super cool crew. I think he was Whistler based, but
He was.
he was like really famous for just having the sickest stuff. He was
Yeah,
such a stylish rider. Didn't really do many grabs to do crazy tricks, but just beautiful style and like, yeah,
yeah. So I got a funny
yeah,
story about him. So I have a renovation business in Vancouver,
right,
and this guy called, and he sounded like an 80-year-old man. He's like, hey, Joey, like, he had this really raspy voice, like beyond, and I could barely understand it. And he's talking about this house that he found that he wanted me to come over and take a look at to renovate it. He's like, why have you come? And I was rolling my eyes in my head. I'm like, oh, this is going to be he's like an 80-year-old man. Like, it's not much business at the end of this conversation. And I show up, and it was this dude who was like in his 40s,
right,
but just had this crazy speech impediment. And it turns out it was Devon Walsh. But
right.
I grew up in the UK, and snowboarding was not the vein that I didn't know anything about this guy. And you probably know about his snowmobile accident, right? Where he smashed his voice box.
Yes, yeah. So because like there's loads of footage of him like talking normally, and then
And then all of a
that
sudden he
kind of
didn't.
happened fairly, yeah. And then he kind of suffered from that injury, and Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
then I Googled him. I don't know what made me Google him. I don't know. I was like, "What is this guy all about?" And then I texted him. I was like, "I guess you're kind of a big deal in the snowboard world." He's like, "Yeah, kind of, I guess." And he has done well. Like he built this $2 million house.
wow.
I guess he's a DC. Is it DC? What's that shoe brand? Not
DC
Converse.
Shuko US, DC Shuko, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think he's a big.
Draws. It was Draws Clothing shoe company.
Yeah. Anyway, he asked me, he lived just around the corner from me, and he's like, "Come over. I'm just cleaning out my garage." And I went over there, and there was so much snowboard gear. His garage was full of it. And then all his beer sponsors, and he didn't drink, just stacked to the ceiling of cases of beer. He's like, "You want beer?" I'm like, "I don't really drink." He's like, "Ah." And so I actually have his snowboard pants that I wear all the time now. He gave me a whole bunch
Cool.
of gear. I just went walking down the street with all of this free snowboard gear. And now when I mention his name, people, especially in Canada, they're like, "Oh my God, you know Devon Walsh? He's like a legend."
Yeah, no, I mean, like, and like one of the cool ones as well, like Devon Walsh. He was definitely like, yeah, he wasn't
Yeah.
one of the kooky, dorky ones. He was, yeah, cool guy.
So with your channel, was history like always something you were interested in, or did you start to see like a niche, like, "Oh, I could probably do something here and talk about history"?
I no, yeah, like I had a kind of vague interest in history, but really not so much. And what I found is because yeah, I was like, oh, okay, I need to actually make content for this channel. I better like actually find some things that are interesting to talk about. So I just started kind of digging into bits of history, and then the more I learned, just the more I found it interesting. Like the way I describe it is it's like I started creating a shelving system of history because before history just used to seem like it was all these dates and random things, and like you talk about the 14th century and the 17th century. And these are kind of, it's just all history. There's old people and they have dirty clothes, like that was kind of like what I kind of,
And growing up in
that's
the
how I
UK,
felt.
right? It's everywhere. I mean, there's just you
It's
don't appreciate it until you live in like
absolutely,
Canada, where the oldest history is 100. Like, that house is 100 years old. Oh my God! I'm like, bro, I lived in a 400-year-old private, you know, private school that was renovated. So you
but
created this
so
shelving system.
yeah. And every time I started stacking the shelving system, then I learn a new date. I learn a new thing. I'm like, oh, okay, Charles the First, 1649, he died. Well, that's easy to remember. That's like 5 years before the plague, 6 years before the Great Fire of London. Like suddenly you've got this time frame, and he's on that shelf there. So it like,
Mm.
whereas like if it's just Charles the First, 1649. This is just like numbers and dates and kings' names, and it makes no sense. But then you start looking into it, and you're like, okay,
He's up here
these
on the
all
shelf.
start, yeah, they all start kind of like fitting in with each other, and it's the more I learn, the more I just find it incredibly satisfying. So it's like a self-perpetuating thing, and I love that I'm getting this knowledge. But one of the reasons why I was like, I want to learn something new is that my dad died of dementia about a year and a half ago,
Uh-huh.
and I was looking into like what it is that I can do. So he's only 30 years older than me. How can I protect my brain, and what's the best I can do? And learning a language or learning
Mm.
something new is a kind of way of exercising your brain and making it work. So this is it's a kind of like all encompassing master plan, I guess, which is kind of brain
Mm.
protection. And then it has just a bunch of kind of great side effects that I
Yeah.
can now walk around London and know where for. So it's a real treat.
Yeah. Just a little side note, I think your microphone's on your computer, so when you hit the desk, it's like quite loud.
Oh, okay.
And you're
I'll
a hand
be
gesture man, so just keep your hands up here. Yeah, it's interesting because I'm going to be 53 in about 5 days. And I don't know how you feel about coming close to 50, but 50 was like talking about your dad's dementia, and how our minds are starting to think about different things. Like when I was in my 30s, I never thought about dying. I just thought I was going to live forever. And
yeah.
now I'm like, when I turned 50, it was a sobering day. I did like, my wife's like, "What you want to do?" I'm like, nothing. I just want to sit with this. Like this feels like I'm closer to death than I've got less years to live than I've already lived, and that was really sobering. And you start to think about things like brain development and keeping on it and doing things that still flex that muscle. And if you talk to a 25-year-old, they were like, what are you talking about? Like doing stuff that exercises your brain. But do you feel that like moving now, you're getting close to 50? Do you think you start to think about longevity and how am I going to make this old thing rattle on for as long as I can?
Yeah, I suppose I do. I'm really kind of really stoked or excited
Oh,
about turning
that's
50.
cool.
I remember when I turned 40, I was like, ah, I feel respectable now. Like I feel like I'm at a respectable age,
Yeah, yeah.
and yeah, I don't know. Like I'm kind of just pretty happy about it all, really.
That's a great
Yeah,
place to be.
I guess I just feel pretty satisfied with what I've managed to do with my life.
Mhm.
Um, very few regrets, I suppose. Um, so so bring it on. I'm 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 feeling like amazingly good, and knock on wood, like, but feeling amazingly good in my body. Um, still got a lot of energy. So yeah, let's see how I can keep going.
Yeah.
Bring it on.
So, yeah, like, I keep my brain just fires all over the place, but, like, getting back onto the history thing, um, I think one that really stood out to me was that place in London where they hung, like, bloody thousands of people.
50,000 people, Tyburn Tree, it was called. Um, and they had, so that was from about the 1400s. Um, and that, yeah, 50,000 people executed in that one spot. And the mad thing is that all it is now is it's just this little kind of traffic island at the bottom of Edgware Road. Uh, and like, yeah, it's so assuming there's a little kind of plaque. That's it. Like, about
And
3 foot
what were the
across.
most that was that, like, the witch trials kinda time? Was that, what was the
Um, I mean, I think that it's just years and years of having incredibly paranoid royal families who are generally just like, treason was a thing. So a lot of people speaking badly of the king
Oh,
or,
man.
that kind of thing. A lot of a lot of it came from that. And yeah, it there were just some generally royals who were just pretty,
Mad.
yeah, like heavy-handed on the old, hanging. Pretty crazy, isn't it?
Did you feel an energy around that spot? Because that's like
Um,
50,000 people in one small area. Because they created a
so
hanging device that would hang how many at a time? Like 20 something?
24. Yeah, 24 people could be, there was like
Ba-dunk.
factory style, yeah,
It's like an
gallows.
abattoir for humans.
Basically, yeah. I mean, I guess
Jeez.
spread over the 600 years that it was in use, it's it's not loads. But I mean, one of the mad things about it is that they had stalls there. They would have had people selling fruit, selling beer. They would have had VIP stalls for people who are paying to get to see the hanging, and it was a real kind of entertainment, which is just so
That's so
weird. I
crazy.
mean,
It's not that
it's
long
really
ago,
weird,
really.
isn't it? No, I mean, I think actually, when was it? The last one in Tyburn could have been. I don't know that it was as late as the 1700s. May have been 1600s, but yeah, like yeah, really really odd.
Do you get the
But
sense when
I
you
mean,
look at yeah, carry on.
like I actually got to know a few years back. I got to know a tuk-tuk driver who was a surfer in Sri Lanka. This is quite a while back because it was not that long after the tsunami. So he had been one of these basically slave labor people over in Saudi. He was fixing air conditioning units there.
Mm.
And what they do there is they basically take your passport. They would fly these very cheap labor from Sri Lanka, India, Bangladesh, take your passport, then they would get you to work for a very low rate, and but until you'd earned your passport back, basically, to pay for your flights. And during that time, he half his village was killed in the tsunami when he was over there, and they wouldn't let him fly back. But he said, like, he described things that were quite similar to Tyburn going on over there, and this would have been 25 years ago. Um, yeah, basically public executions within a stadium. And that is, this is, I'm sure it's happening right now.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, do you get the sense when you're studying history and looking at, for your next, you have to keep on it, right? There's a lot of history to look at. Do you find yourself thinking there's not that big sometimes that you can think like those were different people, but
Mm.
I think COVID for me really shed a light on the fact that how a couple of things had to change and tweak, and all of a sudden neighbors were turned against neighbors, and all of a sudden it was
Mhm.
like, burn him, burn him. They didn't say burn him, but it was like that type of rhetoric was
Mhm.
coming out and with different language. And it's like pretty scary to realize how it doesn't take much of the knobs to be turned. Like there's very thin threads that are keeping us kind of respecting each other and respecting and staying in our lanes. But as soon as you start to like pull the food away or pull the economy
Mhm.
away, or like say your job's been lost and turned over to AI now, and you're gonna, I don't know, it wouldn't take much to tilt back into that kind of chaos.
It's all cycles, and these same cycles have been going on for,
And so you've noticed the
forever.
cycle.
Well, in so many ways, in so many ways. I mean, the 1600s, the 1700s, with the birth of the East India Company, which is, I mean,
Yeah,
if it was today, that would have been bigger than Amazon, Google, all
right.
combined. It was this huge monolith of a company, and this extraction of wealth, these huge pillars of wealth,
Mm-hmm.
very similar to what's going on right now with these tech billionaires. Um, like this is completely visible within London. You have this kind of like older part of London, East London, and then all of the streets there are really kind of tight. And then with this new wealth, you go out to West London and you see, oh right, they are literally just building mansions, like palaces. What like in these big wide streets, and that was this huge amount of wealth being drawn out of this company, which was in itself just sucking the wealth out of like these smaller or no, not smaller, but like these poorer countries, or actually India back then wouldn't have been so poor, but
Yeah.
like yeah, and that came with along with like the opium wars in China and stuff. So
I mean,
yeah,
what's going on? What's going on with America right now? I heard a podcast I listened to say that America, since this Venezuela thing blew up, and now he's talking about Greenland in a more serious way. It's like America's now clearly an empire. Like it is going back to that empire state of like we will just take what we want and walk
mhm,
into where we want and start to it's not we're just going to make America great. it's nah, it's kind of starting to tilt that way.
mm,
It's scary to think where it's all going to end up, because the power and the wealth is in the hands of 7 or 8 extremely rich people, right? Which is crazy.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty mad. Well, there's quite obvious comparisons to other times,
Hmm.
and I think that yeah, being aware of the part within that cycle that we're in is really important for
Hmm.
everyone to understand that,
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good time to learn how to
to
grow
reflect on the past.
vegetables.
Yeah, well, certainly that. Um,
Yeah, we moved to a farm. We moved out of Vancouver during around about, it was COVID that kind of pushed us, really, because I had a big mortgage, and my way of living was being threatened because they were saying, you can't do it. And I was like, man, I felt so vulnerable as the breadwinner, as the provider for my home. And I was like, if this ever happens again, which it probably will, I don't want to feel as exposed as I am now. Like, I felt so exposed and at the mercy of Gov.
Yeah.
And so we sold high and brought low. Like, we brought our money onto Vancouver Island. So you could buy a lot. Yeah, so that's where I'm living now. And, you know, we have a small mortgage. We have 5 acres. You know, 2,000 square foot greenhouse and goats and chickens and an incredible community.
That sounds epic.
It's amazing. Like, it's like my wife came kicking and screaming because she had a big community there. And I think I endured about 8 months of postpartum type of depression. You know, my son loved it. He was like, I'm never going back, Dad. You know, it was like adventure for him, but the girls were not happy at all. But now, looking back after 3 years being here, everyone is just like so stoked, you know.
Wow, that's brilliant. That's amazing.
I mean, we had to move our greenhouse, which is about 80 feet long. No, it's massive. You know, you could play a game of football in there 5-a-side. It's huge. And I wanted to move it on the property. And so I put a text out to 15 men that I knew from the valley. Some of them moderately well. Just put this big group text out, said, hey, next Sunday, 10 o'clock in the morning, I need to move this greenhouse. I need everyone to show if you can make it. 5 people show, we're not moving it. I need all 15 of you guys. It was pouring rain, and literally a minute after I sent the text, everyone responded with a thumbs up. And I don't know what it's like in London, but in Vancouver, that would have been, I can't, I don't know, my back's hurt. You know, it would have been a million excuses and no one would have showed, maybe 1 or 2 people. I was just blown away. They just showed up on their Sunday morning and in the pissing rain.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Well, yeah, no, I mean, I think, I've actually got kind of some nice communities, mainly through BMXing in the city. But I do think that it can be one of the more isolating things to live in a city, which is the irony of that. I mean, like, you know, you're surrounded by so many people, but you can feel isolated. And then when I've lived in these smaller places, then that sense of community is so much stronger. So yeah, totally understand that.
Yeah, I'm sure it's getting close to dinner time for you. Hey,
yeah, it's kind of heading that way. I was like, oh yeah,
getting hungry. I could hear the mixer going on in the background.
Yeah, that'll be my wife was doing something
cooking up.
Yeah.
So where did the pink hat start? I mean, I know it's been on one of your channels.
Yeah, so the pink hat, I mean, so basically,
and the woolly sweater. You always wear that woolly sweater.
Quite often wear this one. I've got a brown one that I wear. I guess I like kind of simple things, really. Like, I'm not, I like stuff without logos. So, and then the pink hat, it literally was like the one video that did really, really well. I just happened to have a pink hat that morning. And then I was like, oh, actually, you know, I'm getting all of my thumbnails, there's you know, like sunrise, and the pink kind of goes well with those colors. And now I've quite grown to really quite like the pink hat. But I tell you what, it is like, it's a real Clark Kent thing. If I go out without my pink hat, no one recognizes me. It's like,
it's like
Clark Kent takes off. He puts the glasses on, or takes them off. He's Superman. But like, invisible. It's funny. It's really funny. So that's quite a nice thing as well. Like, I can just be like, I don't really feel like getting recognized today, so I'll just take the pink hat off.
Yeah, you're kind of like a London celebrity now. That's so wild.
It's pretty funny. I mean, like, I was just in Finland. I got spotted I was in Helsinki and I got spotted, and I kind of everywhere I go. Like, I literally landed in New Zealand in the summer, and about 12 seconds after walking out of the airport, I had a Kiwi guy was like, you're that line bike guy, right?
And then you had a comedian do a bit about you, right? Because now I've started following that guy. And I love it, man.
It wasn't about me in particular. It was just about people who get up at 5 and brag about getting up at 5. Yeah. And I just took his video and then I applied it to myself. I just thought, I was like, oh, that's quite funny, because I love that guy. I think he's really on it and he's brilliant. And I'm like, he's taking the piss out of all these people. And then he's like, oh, he takes the piss out of like something that is the essence of me. I was like, okay, I'm gonna own that one.
You
Yeah.
get up in the morning, yeah. You're watching, and you think everyone else is like less than you. That's cool, man. Cool.
He's
I was
good,
telling
isn't
my
he?
wife about that comedian because I've started following him since you mentioned him. And
Right.
one thing I miss about being in Canada, there's a couple things I miss about home, which I still call England my home, is the pub food and just the pub culture, just that kind of like murmuring voices. I don't know what it's like in London, but every pub here has TVs everywhere, hockey games
Mm,
blasting. Doesn't feel like that intimate country pub. And I miss the
no,
fact that English, we know how to laugh at ourselves. Like we make fun of, like this, the humor. And Canadians take themselves very seriously. And so
it's
sarcasm doesn't
different,
work
isn't
too
it?
well. Oh,
It is
yeah. And
different.
I got a friend of a friend.
Self-deprecation is not quite as like there's a self-deprecation is quite a British
It is.
kind of humor, isn't it? So
There is a dark side to it. I noticed when I went to Arkansas and the woman, the house I was staying at, I came downstairs the first morning or second one, and she's like, "You look great today." And I've never heard those words growing up, because it was what my dad would say is if I looked good or if my sister looked good, he would say, "Oh, you look awful," which really means you look great.
yeah,
Right? My
yeah,
dad would pick up the phone, and I remember, because I don't know if it's still like that. When I grew up, you always said your phone number. It was like double
right,
seven
yeah,
two
yeah.
five zero. Did you still say that?
No, yeah, it doesn't happen anymore. But yeah, I
Oh yeah, it'd
remember
be
doing that
like
when I was young.
we'd say Launceston 2504, which was I still remember it. My dad would just pick up the phone and say, "What do you want?" Before
I'm
he'd
just
even
shutting the
heard
door.
who it was on the other end. He'd just say, "What do you want?" And
Right,
if you did that here, people would just hang up. They'd be scared. They'd be like,
right.
"Click." And I really miss that. I know I've got friends of my sister who lives in Halifax, and they could afford it, but they've now bought a house back in England because they lived in Halifax. They said, we just need like, we really miss the sense of humor. Like, people are just waiting. And so they spend half the year back in England just because they just said it's a big deal for us. Like, it's a thing. Um,
Mm,
so yeah, so I was telling my wife about that comedian, what's his name again? Who just has any
uh,
old thing in his head and talks on the phone.
yeah.
Hairbrush.
Do you know, I can't actually remember his name right now. That's pretty bad, isn't it?
It happens when you're 50.
It does.
And I did a skit of his, kind of just remembered it, and after I was done, it was like just flatlined. It's like no laughing. I think he was mocking a climber or something. He's like, "Yeah, you get up early in the morning, yeah, you climb the top of a mountain. Yeah, you got all that really cool Arc'teryx gear. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, do you feel like you're better than everyone? Yeah, really cool." I was like, that's awesome.
He's got good delivery though, hasn't he? He's obviously quite a quiet guy. Yeah, and I've seen him in some interviews and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's pretty on it.
smart. Yeah, making fun of this serious culture we're in. Cool. So
I'm gonna find out his name just because
he's bugging you.
Tom Nestor. That's the one.
Tom Nesta, everyone, go watch him.
Yeah,
If you're
he's
Canadian,
good.
you won't understand it. Where do you see this going for you? This channel, like, it's monetized actually, right? For sure. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
starting to.
I'm actually going in like 3 days' time. I'm gonna go out to the Alps. I mean, I've done a few trips to the Alps on it now, but I'm going out to do a little thing for Meta. I mean, talk about Goliath companies. So they've got these kind of Oakley glasses, and I'm doing a little film for that.
Oh,
So
no
yeah,
way.
it's more and more starting. It's yeah, bringing in some revenue, which is just brilliant. And I think if I could make that work, make it actually just kind of be my source of income. I've been a camera operator, filmer for 20 years or so, and if you're just lugging heavy kit all around the world all the time, and uh, yeah, to go and do these jobs where I just take, this is like my that's my audio thing, this little fox, and then I have an action cam on a stick, and that's my kit, and I love it. I love it so
It's just one
much.
of those little
So
gimbal things.
um, it's just a little DJI Action
Oh yeah.
5. It's kind of the size of a GoPro, and it's just on a little selfie stick. The reason I use that is because I pull out a vertical image from it, and then it's also the sensor size works for a landscape image as well. So kind of future
Yeah.
proofing stuff, or putting out stuff out on YouTube, that kind of thing.
So YouTube is your primary channel then, and because I've only seen you on Instagram.
No, actually, so Instagram's kind of the primary. I have been putting up. I load everything up to TikTok as well, and then YouTube is something I'm in the process of. Yeah, trying to create some more long form stuff for YouTube.
Hmm.
So that I'm gonna do a kind of release of that though, and do a kind of so I can
Hmm.
actually start being consistent. It's a difficult one to crack, YouTube, but yeah, that's the plan.
Do you feel like I struggle with this relationship with this machine? I don't know, like what I'm on right now, right? Like I wish I could delete all my apps. Honestly, I really do, but I can't because I've chosen. I have to use it for my business. I've chosen to do this thing that I'm doing right now. And so you have to have a relationship with it, and I struggle with, maybe you're chill about it, but I struggle with that. I struggle with always thinking about content, or always thinking, like my wife and I had a talk the other day, and I'm like, what can I do for you in our relationship? And she's like, just be more present. I'm like, oh
Mm,
shit. Because I realize that we live on a farm, and I'm able to, because my business is like 20 years old, and I only go to Vancouver twice a month. So I'm able to just work. I love working with my hands. I'm super creative. So I'm building out this farm, making it like I'm building this huge dome, that's going to be like 30 foot wide, and we can do functions in there and stuff like that. And I'm always building stuff. And so I'm not on my phone on the farm. And then I come in for lunch or dinner, and now's my time to check my stuff. And I realize that's when my
mhm,
family see me. And
right. Okay.
I realized too, so in my head, I'm like, well, I'm not doom scrolling. I'm checking my email. I'm checking my Instagram. I'm making sure that post goes out. But in their head, they see me on a device. And so I'm not fully connected. So I'm like constantly trying to figure out. And then there's also like, if you want your channel, if you want your podcast, if you want your stuff to grow, like you said, you did a deep dive into how it all works. Um, you do have to pay the piper. You do have to kind of jump through the hoops that it's telling you to jump through. And I struggle with that. Maybe it's like this inner rebellion I have, where I kind of feel like I'll just do the content. Like when I was in music, it was like, you have to kiss the ass of the manager or the record label if you want to get. And I'm like, no, my music should just speak for itself. And in actual fact, that doesn't often happen. You have to rub shoulders with the you have to hobnob. You have to put yourself out there. You have to, not just a good song rarely makes it. It's more than that. What's your relationship with all of this? And do you just don't have a problem with
I
it and interest?
I I would maybe slightly, um, I think people, they get a dog for two reasons. One is because they just like a dog and they like the company, but then also your dog will effectively force you to go out on a walk every day. And so I've always loved making films. I've always
Yeah.
really loved having nothing at the beginning of the day and having something at the end of the day. Like it just makes me happy. So having this channel is like, I can wake up early in the morning and I could either do nothing, or I'm like, no, I'm gonna get out into the streets and I'm gonna cycle, and I'm probably gonna have a really lovely experience, and I'm gonna go and learn some stuff. And
Mm.
so I see the channel as kind of like my dog forcing me to go out and do this stuff and produce and then make it and put it out there. So I'm having a very positive experience from being made to create,
Mm.
but that's because I love creating, and I've always have. I mean, beyond,
Mm.
I've been making films always. Yeah, there's definitely some sides of it that are negative than that. I do end up like I find myself 40 minutes into a scroll
Yeah, it's
without kind of
crazy.
really thinking, and that sucks. Um, but
It
I
feels like
think on the
something
whole, yeah,
reaches out from the phone and grabs you. Hey, it's just like, whoa. That just like pulled me in.
Well, you're battling with rooms full of geniuses in Silicon Valley who are doing everything that they
Yeah.
can to make sure that it is as addictive as possible for you
Yeah.
as it can be. So yeah, they're
There is
clever.
something, and you must feel this because you've got 10,000 plus followers, right? Or 100, how many? I don't even know. It's a lot. Big number.
Yeah. I've got, I think currently, what am I? I've got like 220 something or something like that. Yeah, 230 or maybe.
Yeah. And I've always said, because I used to be a performing artist, and I was like, art is to me, art is half done. The completion of art is when the public then look at the art and get something from it. You know, like you do a great painting, the painter's, painting away in his basement, and then he puts it on display. I think the art reaches its fullness when people come and look at that art and get moved by it. Like when I write a song, it's half done, because really, I am writing it I'm a servant of the people. I want to make content that will move someone. And so when they come up to me and say, "Oh, that song really helped me through a hard time," that is worth more. That is worth more than money to me as an artist, because and then it feels the project is complete. You know, but if I just write it in my basement and leave it there, it's like a half done project in a way, because really the court jester was there to bring joy to people, right? Like artists are there for the people. And it must be really comforting for you to know that 5 o'clock in the morning when you're riding through London, there's like sometimes 10,000 people following you on that ride. Like and you're bringing joy to them, like, because you're really, your whole content is just positive. Like, it's just a positive, it's not political. I mean, it is when you talk about history, but I think there must be something. I mean, yeah, I've had a few people reach out and say, every Tuesday I listen to your podcast. And I'm like, really? Like, you find it, like, yeah, every Tuesday. I'm like, I just love, and often it's just me and my sister rattling on about whatever. And that is like so baffling, but also really, really heartwarming, because you've come into their living room and you've created like an hour of something that they enjoy.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it is really satisfying. Although I happily make films that no one sees. I've made loads and loads, in fact, because I made films with my daughter from when she was really young, all growing up, and none of them are available for anyone to see. And she's old enough now that she could choose to have them, but like I didn't put them online, and
Mhm.
that was just our time together. We would make
Right.
films together, but I've always found that process just so satisfying. I love it.
That's
Mm.
awesome. Cool, Johno. Well, I know probably the smells of dinner are seeping into your room, and you got to be up early for your next
Yeah,
ride.
I probably will be. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be like a drizzly day tomorrow. I'll see how it is. But yeah,
Weren't you just
no,
snowboard? I see a snowboard in the background there. Weren't you just boarding, or are you just about to head out on a trip?
I am. I'm about to go snowboarding in about 4 days' time. That's this meta job is actually a snowboard one, and then but then yeah, I was out for New Year. My friend's got this amazing chalet in the Three Valleys, and so I was out there for New Year, and my daughter lives out there as well. So yeah, we were all hanging out together, and that was super nice. So
Cool.
yeah, snowboarding's still a part of my life. I do quite a lot of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
whenever I can, and kind of it's involved in my work and everything. So
We've got it. We've
that's
had
good.
the worst winter for the mountain. Like, it's like 10 degrees outside right now.
Oh
All the
really?
snows,
Oh
Mount Washington is just up the road from us. It's a small mountain,
right.
but it's only 20-minute drive. And yeah, my kids are pretty bummed out. It's like you can see bare patches and rocks, and it's not pretty. So we're
Oh, that
praying for a
sucks.
dump.
Well, because when it comes big, doesn't it? In Canada, I mean,
Yeah.
you've got that kind of like coastal. You get coastal conditions, so yeah, pretty
Oh yeah,
amazing.
we'll get the powder will come overnight, and then there'll be just a flood of people up there. Yeah, cool, man. Well,
Cool.
thanks so much. I know it was tough with the time zone difference, and I think it's great work that you're doing, bringing joy to
Thanks,
people.
man.
And yeah, wish you all the best.
Oh, well, that was a really enjoyable chat. Thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you so much.
Good stuff.
I will be watching you on Instagram.
Cheers, man.
All right,
All right,
cheers, bye.
catch you.